In this video, we're going to be talking about a restart screen, how to get there, what information is provided by that screen, and what it's used for. So we can get to the restart screen by clicking the Y button in the top right corner of our home screen. Y stands for year, the number next to it, the year you were in as a head coach. So that's a clickable button. If we push that Y button, it will open up our restart screen. This screen is used to compare results with friends, or if you were in a league, to make sure that nobody is using any competitive advantages. Let's go over the information that's provided by the screen. On the very top is our basic information, our team name, head coach, year and week that we're in, and the record, wins, losses, ties. On the left side is each game broken down individually. So the first column there is the week number. So we see W1 standing for week 1 through W10 standing for week 10. The next column is the opponent that we played in that week. And then the column after that is the total score for that game. So in week 1, we played Miami, and the total score, final score, was 42-36. We know we won by 6 points because of the point differential next to that. So that next column, if it is a plus, means you won the game. If it is a minus, you lost the game. So that's going to tell you your total score minus the opponent's total score. The column next to that is the difficulty level. So X stands for extreme, H for hard, M for medium, E for easy, and D would be there for dynamic. Dynamic is varying in difficulty level, so that D would have a number next to it, 1 through 16. D1 being the easiest level of dynamic, D16 being the most difficult. Next to that is the minutes per quarter. So every game that we've played this season has been played at 3 minutes per quarter. Then there's a column next to that. I don't have any weather throughout this season, but if there were an R there, that would mean that game was played in rain. If there was an S there, that game was played in snow. Across from that is our total point differential, plus 93. So that tells us the total PD is the total amount of points that we scored minus the total amount of points that the opponent scored. If that number were negative, then the opponent had scored more points than we had. Salary is the total amount of salary being used on the roster slash the total amount of salary available to us. And then CCs purchased would be if you used fiat currency to purchase coaching credits in the game. And at the very bottom is the amount of restarts that have been used. Restart is when you exit out of a game before it finishes so that you can restart it and try to get a better score. So each time that you do that, that is going to tick up 1. So if you did that once throughout the season, it'll be 1 restarts. If you've done it 25 times, it'll say 25 restarts. Then the D0651137 is just a save file identifier that doesn't provide us with any information that's useful to us. If we click that white arrow on the right, it'll bring us to our second restart screen. And this is all of the players broken down. So we have the name of the player in the far left column. The next to that is going to be the position that they played. So the G is going to be the games played in this season slash the total games they've played in their career. If we look at the quarterback staying at the top, the AC is the attempts slash completions. Y would be the yards, passing yards slash rushing yards. TDs would be passing TDs slash rushing TDs. TO is going to be interceptions slash fumbles. And then SK is going to be the sacks. If we look at the receiving players, tight end and wide receiver, again, G, games played in the season slash games played over their career. R being the amount of receptions that they've made. Y, the total amount of yards that they've made. TDs, the total amount of touchdowns that they've scored. AV, the average yards per reception. And FM, the total amount of fumbles that they've made. The offensive lineman is going to have games played in the season versus games played in his career. And then BL stands for blocks. Your defensive players are going to have, again, the Gs, games played in the season slash games played over their career. TK is going to stand for tackles. SK is going to stand for sacks. IN for interceptions, and FF for forced fumbles. The kicker, KK, has games played / games played in a season versus games played over career. Attempts / made, so amount of field goals attempted / the amount of field goals made, and the total yards that those field goals have added up for. And then the running back at the very bottom, again, games played this season / games played over career. TC is the amount of touches, so receptions / rushes. Y is receiving yards / rushing yards. TDs is receiving TDs / rushing TDs. And FM stands for total amount of fumbles. There is one final restart screen that we can access by, again, clicking that right white triangle on the right side of our screen. So if we click that, it will bring us over to our third restart screen. This third restart screen is going to break down your opponents. So if we look at the columns again, the first column is the weeks, week 1 through week 10. Then the opponent that we played. Then that next column is that opponent's record. So we are in week 11, so it's going to show the records for each team up to this point. So Miami right now has a 7-2 record, 7 wins, 2 losses, 0 ties. If we go down to the bottom and look at week 10, who we just played, Philadelphia has a 7-win, 3-loss record and 0 ties. These final two columns are the offensive and defensive ratings for those teams. So we are playing an expert, so it does show us 5 stars for each and every offense and defense that we play. However, you can see in terms of the coding or the background information for those teams, they do still fluctuate in their difficulty ratings, and that is going to be represented in their records as well. So if we look at week 8, for example, Green Bay has a 1-8 record, and their offense is only 1, and their defense is only 3. Now, they still play us as a 5-star offense, 5-star defense, but this information is just here so you can see in the background they are still fluctuating in difficulty levels, even though they all show as most difficult. If we look across there, it's going to show us the totals. So the total offensive rating. So if we add up all the O's from week 1 through 10, it's going to bring us 37.5. And if we add up all of the D's from week 1 through 10, the total defense is 35 stars. So this can be helpful if you're kind of looking back and seeing how you did and trying to remember why you lost the one game that you lost, or to compare your schedule with the schedule of others. So just our final screen. Hopefully this video was helpful for you, gave you some insight on what the restart screen shows, represents, and is used for. Last thing to go over is the swirlies as the background. The reason for the swirly background is so that you can't Photoshop this screen, change your records, change your restarts. It's just made to make sure that everybody's playing fair when competing with each other. So if you guys do like these videos, please be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.